If you're watching this video, I can assume that you are already familiar with the basic concepts of HTML and CSS, and now you're ready to tackle JavaScript. But what is JavaScript? Well, JavaScript is a programming language that we use for the web, or you can say building websites. It adds logic, or you can say interactivity to our websites. So, for example, let's say there's a button. It says click me, and it is a HTML element. Now, if there's a style to it, let's say there's a border like this. So it's HTML and CSS. But when we click it, nothing will happen. Why is that? Well, because we have not added any logic to it. To add logic, we will add JavaScript. So if we add uh, JavaScript to it, it can do something. This button can do something. So for example, it says, thanks for clicking. So this is the functionality that we added using JavaScript. Without JavaScript, the button was there. It was just skeleton. It was doing nothing. But if we added JavaScript, it is doing something. So that's why JavaScript is used. So let's go to VS Code and see how to connect JavaScript to HTML. I have already created a page, and if I go live, it looks like this. And now we have to add our JavaScript file to it. So create a new file. Let's call it script, and the extension we are going to use is .js. And let's go back to our index, and here at the end of the body, we have to add a tag called script. Write script, press enter. It is not a self-closing tag. That means you can write JavaScript inside these tags, but we are not going to do that. We are going to use a separate file for that. So we will use the src attribute to connect our script.js file, and this is the location of the file. So if I hit save, our file is now connected. It is similar to the link tag that we used to connect style.css, but it was inside head, and this is inside the body, and in the end of the body. Why is that? Well, because HTML runs code from top to bottom, so all the elements must load before loading JavaScript. That's how it should be. And you don't have to worry much about it for now, because when we use React, we will use something called Wheat, and it will set up the code for us. So the JavaScript file and the connection, everything will be done automatically by Wheat, and we don't have to do it manually. So it's good to know, but we are not going to do it manually. Now let me show you something called console. If you right click here and go to inspect, you will see a window like this. It could be at the bottom or at the right. I have set it to right. And here, if you go to console, you can write code here. Let's say 2 plus 2, and press enter. It will show 4. The thing we're writing here is JavaScript, and the web browsers understand JavaScript. Let me show you something cool about JavaScript. And if I go to this docs page, the one I told you about earlier in the series, and from here, if I copy this text and paste it here in the console and press enter, uh, our title is now changed to Hello World, and before that it was JavaScript begins. So what JavaScript did is we selected the H1 like we used to select in CSS. We are also selecting in JavaScript. We are selecting H1, and Then we change the text content of that h1 to hello world. And if I reload the page, it will go back to JavaScript begins. But let's see it once again. Paste it. Now we're selecting the h1 and changing the text to hello world. If I run this, it has changed to hello world. So JavaScript is powerful. So let's go to our JavaScript file and learn about JavaScript data types. There are 7 primitive data types in JavaScript. Data can be in different types, and data types are there to represent what type of data we are using is. So the first type is string. String is used to store text. To write a string, you have to write them in uh, double quotes, single quotes, or there is one more type. It is called backticks. It is the key next to number one key on your keyboard. Uh, for now, we will use these, but this is very important. So we will get back to it later. For example, if we write something like this or this, then it means that the type is string. So if we go to our console and write a text, let's say hello, and we want to see what's the type of this text, we can write type of in JavaScript and press enter. It will show us string. Type of is a function provided by JavaScript to check the type of data that we are using. So if we write type of single quotes this time, hi, press enter, we will see string. And type of, let's use backticks this time. It's already showing string. Even if we write number inside them, it will be string because they are inside these quotes. Now let's go back to our second data type. Let's change the color. Second one would be number. Number is used to store, you guessed it right, numbers. The numbers can be whole numbers, or they can be float like 12.55 or 0.92. All of them are categorized as numbers. In other languages, there are int for integer values, float for decimal values, then double. But in JavaScript, all of them are categorized as number. So if we go back here and see type of uh, 1.5, it is number. Type of 100, it is also a number. You get it. Let's move on to the third one. That is Boolean. It is just true or false. Yeah, that's it. It is there to show either a value is true or is it false. That's it. That's Boolean. It is very useful where we have to make changes depending on condition. So if we go to console once again and see type of true, it shows Boolean. Type of false, it is also Boolean. Boolean is just true and false. So this was easy one. Let's move on to the fourth one. That is big int. Well, it is used for, really large numbers. You just have to add n after the number. So if there's a number, you can add n at the end to make it big int. It is used for big numbers. So if we write type of, let's say I'm writing a big number, it's still a number, but if I write n, it turns into big int. So even if a number is small and there's a n at the end, the number will be big int. Uh, do we use it a lot? I haven't used it, but it is good to know. Now let's move on to the fifth one. Let's change the color again. Fifth one is null. That means nothing. So if we want to store nothing, then we use null. For example, we define something. Let's say x is equal to null. That means x is having nothing. Okay. And one more thing is similar. It is called undefined. Um, Here, undefined means the absence of value. Uh, Understand the difference. Null means there is nothing, but undefined means that value has not been assigned yet. So if we, let's say, uh, x, and we just declared it and we didn't give it any value. So what is x? It could be number, it could be string, it could be anything, that it cannot be defined. That's why it's undefined. So if we go back here and let's say write type of x, it will be undefined. Why? Because we have not defined any value to it. So it cannot understand what data type is being used. And if we see type of null, it will show us object. That's something uh, JavaScript does. I don't know why is that, but it's a fun topic to talk about. So these were the data types that we use, but there's another primitive one. So let's see it. It's called symbol, and it is kind of like unique symbol. If you see it here, type of, I think we have to write it like this, symbol, and then define a value. No, it's not like that. Maybe the S should be capital. Yes. This is how symbols are defined. I have never used them, but what they do is make this value unique, and they are used as key because the keys are supposed to be unique. You will understand it when we go to objects and see what are keys, what are values. So these were the primitive data types, and I think this is good for today's video. And in the next video, we will see more of JavaScript.